Y'all know how I roll. All right, so I can see the goodies. All right, so here we go. Here's what's going to happen here. We're going to do 2 FBAs. I'm doing the Diane von Furstenberg dress, and I need to do an FBA on a wrap top. So I will be showing you guys how to FBA wrap anything wrap. So it could be a shirt, it could be a jumpsuit, anything that has a wrap on the front. I'm going to demo. And then I was able to cut out a regular front bodice. And we're going to do a regular FBA on this her front bodice. And I'm also going to explain another FBA, which is called a Y FBA. And that's for you curvy girls that have a bust size larger than a double D/E. So I'll show you guys how to do a Y full bust adjustment and a regular full bust adjustment, and then we're going to do an FBA on a wrap top. All right. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of explaining. Now, you can get a notebook if you want or whatever, but I got a little explaining to do. So now, here's the explaining. All right. When you do an FBA, what you're doing is you're making room for the girls, right? We're making girl room inside of our tops. All right. We know that the big 5 patterns are drafted on a B cup or a B sewing cup, okay? Not a bra cup. Not this thing right here. We're talking about sewing. So in sewing terms, they have a B cup, okay? Now, that's what these patterns are generally drafted on. There are some indie patterns that are drafted on a D cup, sewing D cup, and then you can increase from there, all right? Now, this is a DVF Vogue pattern, and we all know Vogue is one of the big 5 is drafted on a B cup. My girls are D cup. Sometimes I could do a C on a good day, but when I want to eat ice cream and shit that make me bloat, I need a D cup, okay? And that I can breathe when I put my bra on. It's not too tight. Now, the rule in the sewing cup world is 2 inches. So when we go from 1 cup to the next cup, is 2 inches. 1 cup to the next cup, 2 inches. From B to C, 2 inches. From C to D, 2 inches. D to E or double D and E are the same, right? 2 inches. Now, whenever you do a full bust adjustment, here's what happens. Say, for instance, you say, you know what? I've been cutting a size 16 and everything fits me, but when I do the 16, the bust is too tight. So I'm going to go up a size. Then you go up to the 18. You sew all of that 18 up, and you sit down and you spend your 5 hours behind this her sewing machine, right? And you put that thing on, and the girls can fit, but the shoulders are hanging off, the neck is gapping, the hips are wide, the 18 is too big, but the girls fit. So we're told that when you pick a size on the back of the envelope, we need to make sure it's the widest or the largest part of the body that we get into, right? In this case, and I've done this on some of my best outfits that I've worn and that you see on my feeds, Instagram, TikTok, blase. I am a true 18, right? Sometimes a 16 when I ain't lazy. Now, I'm a true 16 when I'm not lazy. When I'm not lazy, that means an FBA. And I'm just like, I'm lazy. I don't feel like doing that shit. But I'm going to show you guys how to do that shit and how to get a good fitting garment. So, I decided I want to do this DVF dress. All the damn money I spent on plotting patterns and doing all of that extra crap, because we all know how much that pattern has cost. I feel like I'm going to go ahead and do what I need to do. So, with the DVF pattern, I cut an 18. So now I'm no longer a true 16. I done gained a few pounds, sitting down watching TV. Now I'm a true 18. But I noticed from sitting down watching TV, eating shit or whatever, that I've grown out of the 18 in some spots. And I've been doing combos, which is 18 to 20. Those are combos. But I'm noticing that the 20 is way too big for me. I can get my girls in the 20, but I can't get the rest of my body in the 20. Not to mention that I'm short. I can get my waist in the 20 because I got a little, muffin thing happening right here. But the rest of the garment is just way too big. The neck, the arms, the sleeves, everything else is way too big. When I go to the 18, it's a little big, and I don't mind my clothes being a little big. I don't want nothing super tight on me. So I like the way that the 18 fits. So now I notice that when I do an 18, I need an FBA because I'm having a little tightness right here in the bust area. So when you're looking to do your FBA, what I'm going to suggest is this right here. You need to take an upper bust measurement, okay? Upper bust is right up here through the armholes, okay? So your tape needs to go through the armholes, over the bust, hence the word upper. You'd be surprised, some of y'all don't know what upper means, right? So you want to take your upper bust measurement, and you don't need nobody to help you. Miss Carol, do I need somebody to help me? No, just put that shit under your armpits. I mean, if you need to wash up and whatever, that's fine. But I got on the top so the funk ain't transferring. And then I'm going to do my upper bust measurement. Right? Now, I see it right there. Upper bust on me is 40. Now, we're not talking about the envelope with, oh, wait a minute. I see a little spread there. Now, I don't let my arms down, and this thing creeped up on a little bit. Pay attention to that. Okay, so now I'm at like 41 1/4. All right, so it opened up an inch. So when you do your upper bust, put it around your bust, put your arms down. I have a tape that has a thing on it. Hold on, let me grab that out right now so I can show you guys this tape. This is my good luck tape right here. I'm gonna set that over. And this is for you guys. This tape I think is in my Amazon store. Link is in my bio. Nice thing about this here tape is you don't need nobody to help you. All right. So once we get it hooked up, I'll show you how it works. It got a little tabby on there, and you just slide the little tab. You snap it in there, and then we take this free edge here, and we pull. And that way, and this is also good for regular body measurements. FYI, you want to jot this down. It's a good thing to measure yourself every 3 months, especially if you are a fluctuator. So when you make your custom clothes, they will fit. All right, so now this is my hands-free tape. And then you can see here on this little red line, I ain't got my glasses, y'all. On this little red line is the number that I need, right? So it's good for a bust measurement, waist, hips, and everything. So I must have came in here without my glasses. I don't have my glasses, y'all, but that's okay. So this number here says 39 and a half. So I'm doing my full bust measurement. Okay. So now I'm at 40. I'm right above my bust. My tape is parallel to the floor. It's going through my armholes, and it's my bust. 40 is the number here, right? So now, when I get the back of my pattern envelope, I'm just going to use this for shits and giggles. Actually, this is a good one to use. This is a pattern that I plan on doing, right? So I look on here, and I'm looking for the 40. The bust 40, finished garment measurements. Bust cup B, bust cup C is 42. So this one is a size 16. So bust cup B is 42. You take this measurement and you add 2 inches, right? So if I'm looking for the 40, sorry y'all. Okay, wait. Okay, let me start over because that totally distracted me. All right, so my bust measurement is 40. So when you go for your upper bust measurement, that is what you need to look for on the back of the envelope when you're trying to pick your cut size. That's what I wanted to say. So according to this is 40. Breaking it down, it looks like it's even going, it's spreading a little part. Looks like 40 and a half. I'm not quite at 41. So if I do a 40 and a half on the back of this here thingy, it's telling me to cut a size 18. Yeah. So on the body measurements, I see a 40 and I go up the column. It's telling me I need to cut the size 18. So I'm choosing my bust size using the body measurements, not the finished garment measurement. Using the body measurements, I'm a 40, right? So now it says that I need to cut the size 18. But I know that these ain't a 40, right? So let me measure these. Because I got my 40. I know I need to cut the 18 because my high bust says 40. Then when I measure my regular bust, it is, I'm going to just say a 44. It's a little bit less than a 44, but like I told you guys, I like the extra room. So this is a 40. This is a 44. The difference is 4 inches. Okay? So remember that. My high bust is a 40. And this is me now, not you. My high bust is a 40. My regular bust is a 44. Remember I told y'all I was a D cup? Patterns are drafted on the B cup. Right? 2 inches in between. 40 B cup is the 40, which is on the envelope, right? 42 is the C cup. 44 is the D cup. So that means I need 4 extra inches for my FBA. Now, when we do an FBA on any pattern piece, what do we know we're working with? Half a pattern. So I divide that number by 2, right? And the reason why we divide it by 2 is because we have a right side and we have a left side. Right and left, 1, 2. If I do 4 inches on this one page, 4 inches here and 4 inches here, that's 8 inches. I don't need 8 inches. I need 4 inches. 2 inches here will translate to 2 inches here. When I cut 2, that's 4 inches, okay? Every 2 inches, the cup size, the sewing cup size goes up, all right? So I know I need a 40. This is a B. 42 is a C. That's 2 inches. 2 more inches is 44. I need a D. My number here is 44. I need a D cup, right? Sewing cup, not bra cup, sewing cup. So I added my 4 inches to the B cup that the pattern is drafted in. Okay, that making sense? Now, when I do my FBA, I need a 2-inch adjustment. So I just need to add 2 inches to one side, which will give me 2 inches on this side of the boob, 2 inches on this side of the boob. That's my total 4 inches that this pattern is going to be spread and open, and the girls will fit. And because I cut an 18, The neck's gonna fit good. The arm's gonna fit good. The armhole will fit good. The side seam will be where it needs to be on the side of my body. And this will work for me and the fit will be perfect. Now, first thing that I want to do is get some of this crap off the table. And then we're going to work with the wrap top. So I'm going to open this baby up 2 inches. Because when I talked about this yesterday, the main thing that I wanted from this was coverage. I don't know about y'all, but I see everybody doing their wrap tops and the wraps be like this. So they be like, oh, this is so cute. Now, you know you don't want your shit out like that. Let's make it look like it's supposed to look, which is like the lady on the envelope. Now, just because she's flat-chested don't mean that you can't get a wrap that is coverage and looking good too. Carmen, you know you like to cover them girls up sometime. We ain't trying to take all of that out to the executive dinner and the marketing meeting dinner of the company you about to represent. They be like, wait a minute, what's she doing? Sometimes you need to cover the girls up. You ain't got to cover them up all the time, but sometimes we need to cover the girls up. And I am a wonderful proponent of that. I don't wear everything covered. I got the girls. They still look kind of good at my age. So, yeah, sometimes I need to see them, but I also have a professional role outside of this house, and them people don't need to know what's going on inside my shirt. That ain't none of their business. All right. Now, let's go here. I thought I didn't see that. All right, now, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you all a view of my table because it's important for me to make sure that you all can see what it is I'm doing. I have here an extra piece of paper to use for my filler paper. And when I get done doing this, y'all gonna be like, well, damn, it's that easy? Yeah, it is that easy. Now, the ingredients we need to do an FBA on a wrap top is a curved ruler. You have a curved ruler. This is all you need. Okay? All right. D, cut it out. Chocolate Thunder want him out. Yeah, he wants him out. When we go to dinner, when we do this, but when I go to work, he be like, bitch, where you going with them titties hanging out? Chocolate Thunder, no, he's the one that knows when they're supposed to be in. Oh, yeah. So come on now. You get that husband, I need y'all to already know that. When you get that husband, I need y'all to already know that. When you get that other person, we don't wear the bulbs. The boobs can't go out for everybody. They don't appreciate that. I had to learn that the hard way. Who you dressing for? Tell him, Shamir. Tell him, Shamir. We ain't just getting no sewing lessons. We getting some lessons on life. All right. You need your curved ruler. And then a couple of color markers. Of course, you're going to definitely need your Sharpie. Just so you'll know where to cut and all of that good stuff. Now, one thing that I'm going to do after I do this adjustment, I may need to do a low bust adjustment. If I need to do a low bust adjustment, we'll do that online as well. Because the girls are hanging a little lower than a B cup. Remember I told y'all I need a D cup. So when you do your bust adjustment, on the regular full bust adjustment, your bust point, which is this little coda right here, will go down lower. So you may not need to do, you may not need to lower your dart. But in this case, we'll see what happens. All right, so now, here's what I'm going to do. Y'all going to look at me for a second, and I'm going to measure from my shoulder to the apex. The apex. I want to be politically correct saying the term apex. We're going to lower the bust to the apex. But for y'all that like layman terms, I'm about to measure from the shoulder to the nipple, okay? All right, we all know what that is. So some people be saying, what is the apex? I just started sewing last week. The apex is the nipple, All right, now from the shoulder, and I like to go a little bit past my shoulder seam because I know that it's going to be 5/8 of an inch that's going to be taken up there, right? So I like to go a little bit past the shoulder just so I can make sure that my seam is in there, right? All right, so right to the nipple, and put your good bra on. Whatever bra you're going to be wearing with your outfit, that's the bra that you need to have on. So if you making a formal gown and you got on that Walmart bra, take that Walmart bra off and put on that bra that you want to wear with this garment, okay? I have on one of my everyday bras that I like to use all the time. This is the one that I have the most of. It's not the Walmart bra. The one with the holes in it and it feels real good. Feel like you got on an old t-shirt. Take that Walmart bra off, okay? Because you're not going to Walmart and coming back home. We're making an adjustment for a garment that you're going to wear all the time. So put on the good bra, okay? The good bra hikes the girls up, puts the girls in the good spot, and everything, they're there where you need them. All right. So now I'm measuring my apex is 13 inches, okay? So now let's go to the videotape. All right, which means we're going here to the table. So now from the shoulder to the apex here on this pattern, there is a coda. That's what it's called in musical terms. I was a musical student for quite a while. That's something else that y'all don't know about me. But anyway, from the shoulder to the coda is looks like 11 inches and a quarter, or just 11 inches, right? So that means that your girls' boobs are 1.5 inches lower than this thing right here. So after I make my adjustment, then I'm going to lower my boob point here. If the full bust adjustment does not lower it enough, at least I know how much more I need to bring it down. So I made a mark where my apex is. All right. And if you're a little off, like a little 1/2 inch off or 1/4 inch off, I found in my sewing career, in my experience, that little bit of difference does not there make. But if you're 1 inch off, your dart is going to be right here. Y'all ever see everybody modeling on the internet with their outfits on and the darts are right here and their boobs are here? And I'll be like, how's that working out for you? Okay. All right, now back to the table. I made my little marker where my apex is and according to where theirs is. Now, here's the easy part. On the arm's eye of your shirt, on your wrap top, now we're talking about an FBA for a wrap top, you have the notch for your outfit, right? You have the notch. So you can use that. I'm just going to color it in just for shits and giggles, right? That's going to be one of your points. And then we're going to use the bust point of the pattern. Not my bust point, but the bust point of the pattern, because that's where the original dart is. Okay? And we're going to draw 3 lines. All right. I'm going to use my straight ruler out. We're going to draw 1 line vertical from the little coda or the little mark here to the shoulder. And I'm going to do this in black. Okay. So that's the line that goes to the bust point of the actual pattern. Okay. Now we want to draw a horizontal line, and this is how I know this is going to be a little bit vulgar, but this is how I remember horizontal lines and vertical lines. I'm going to share this with y'all. I ain't never shared that. Hold on one second. Let me grab some weights out because I need to put weights on these pattern pieces so that they don't move. FYI, whenever you do any kind of flat pattern adjustments, you need to make sure that your grain line is on one of the lines on your mat. So if you got a big mat, shout out to Anna, make sure you line up your grain line with one of these lines on the grid on your map. You always need to make sure your grain line is parallel to the lines that are on your mat. And I can see mine because this paper is kind of opaque. When I press it down a little bit, I can actually see through the paper. Now I got my grain line where it needs to be. Now I got some weights holding it down. All right, so now perpendicular to my first line, I'm going to take this here red marker and I'm going to draw a line straight across. And I'm just using my mat to make sure everything is nice and straight. And then I'm drawing straight to the curved edge, which is the wrap edge, right? Then line number 3. So we're going to mark these lines. This is number 1. This is number 2. And then we're going to draw a diagonal line up to the notch in the arm's eye. This is line number 3. Okay. We got 3 lines, and this is a wrap top now. So for the wrap top full bust adjustments, we're going toward the wrap. All right, now, what I like to do when I do these FBAs, I like to take a piece of tape and put it right there on the dot there, just to add a little bit of stability to the actual pattern itself. All right, now, here on this little arm's eye, I'm going to mark my seam allowance. Seam allowance is 5/8 of an inch. Because, and the reason why I'm marking my seam allowance is because I know that's where I'm going to sew. So I don't need to cut past there because there's going to be a seam there, right? That makes sense. Let me get my seam gauge. It's just a little easier to read. All right, so I'll use this. This is one of my small rulers. So I need to make a mark 5/8 of an inch from the edge. And I just like to make a little dotted seam line. This is just for my own reference. Because I know whatever marks or changes that I make, I can't go past the seam line because that's where my stitches are going to go. Right? So that's just kind of a little bit of common sense. All right, so you can see my seam line is dotted here. And then I'm going to put a little bit of a piece of tape right here at the seam line because I'm going to need the hinge. All right, now I got my 3 lines. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut on this line and this line. So I'm cutting on line 2 and line 3, up to line 3. So I'm going to spin this around so I can cut with my scissors. I'm starting right at the point, and then I'm cutting up. And I don't want to cut farther than my seam allowance, right? Because I know that's where I'm going to be stitching. So I'm going to stop cutting like right about here. And then I'm going to turn around and cut in here, which will give me a little bit of a hinge in case my pattern needs to shift in the armhole. So it's like a little hinge there. All right, now I'm going to put my paper underneath. And I'm going to line it up. Looks like I got enough paper under there. All right, so now I'm ready to do my thing. I got my paper cut here, and up here. Then I cut a little inch. So what, in essence, what I did was I cut like this to the seam allowance. Seam allowance is that open air in between my fingers. Cut up here, and then on the other side of my seam allowance, I just cut in, leaving myself a hinge here. Okay. Now I need that. What did I say I needed? 2 inches. I need a 2-inch spread. So now this needs to, because I need a 2-inch spread, I'm only going to do, oh no, I need a 2-inch spread because I need a 4-inch alteration. So now what I do is I open this up, and I need some more paper under here. So let me slide my paper under. Keeping the top area the same. I'm going to open this up 2 inches. And see how this little hinge here is allowing me to open this piece up. Okay? So now I need to be here so I can actually see my adjustment here. Actually, I'm going to pull it open. Do I want to pull it open 2 inches, or do I want to pull it open? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull it open 1 inch instead of 2 inches. I'm going to pull it open 1 inch. And here's what's going to happen. So now I'm measuring from the coda 1 inch, which brings this whole bottom piece down, which brings this piece right here out. I'm going to need more paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some of this off. I'm just going to slide this under here. And that is working. There we go. Now I got my whole area done. Now I need to redo this part. And let me move this back on grain. 1.25 inches. What, 1.25 inches? No, we're going to do 1 inch, not 1.5 inches. And now, let me tell you guys why I decided to switch it to 1 inch instead of 1 inch. Because I just thought about it, and I have stretchy fabric. So remember, we have to accommodate for stretch. Now, if I'd have opened my thing up for 4 inches, this would have been too big. I need to be able to accommodate for stretch. And what I usually do, and this is just my own personal rule, whenever I do a garment that's made out of knit, I accommodate for at least 2 inches of stretch. So if I open this up 1 inch, it's going to fit my bust. I will have the coverage that I need, but I can count on my fabric to stretch the other inch that I need. Okay, so that gives me my complete 4 inches. 1 inch of stretch here, 1 inch on a FBA here, which is 2 inches. That'll give me my complete 4 inches, and it'll make this stretchy fabric fit me really nicely. Now, if I was in a woven garment, then I could go ahead and I could stretch this out. Now, when we get to the plain bodice and not the wrap bodice, because wrap dresses are usually done in a moderately stretched fabric or stretchy fabric. When I get to the regular FBA, I'm going to show you guys a couple of things. All right, so now what I'm doing is I'm measuring right at the apex, the opening here. And that is the picture here that I drew. Okay, and that is 1 inch. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close it up. And then I'm going to show you all something. Okay, so now right here on the arm's eye, where I put my seam allowance or my seam line here, because I made my little hinge here, my other cut, the armhole was allowed to overlap, which makes the actual armhole opening a little bit on the narrow side, which will stop any kind of gapping that I would have here. But because my seam allowance has not changed, the distance here in my arm's eye is still going to be the same. So now I know that my sleeve is still going to fit. But now I have area here at side boob. Y'all know about side boob if you got big boobs. We got side boob here. We have a little bit more length here, which allows the fabric to come over the hump of the bust, right? And we also, so that's what we need. We need length room to go over the hump. Here we got side boob and extra space here. So you can see now we have all this extra space. All right, now, so we have a 1-inch adjustment. Now you can see the original coda was right here where my finger is, right? But since I opened it up, now my boob line has dropped. So this one right here that I put, I probably don't even need to do a low bust adjustment on this. Even though we have a dart here, the dart lowered with my bust point, so I can just leave the dart alone. Yeah, now this boob thing is now at 12 inches, and mine is at 13 inches. And remember, I told you all, it really doesn't matter. If you have a good bra, whatever, your bust is still, your apex and your bust is still inside that bra, right? Hey, Jackie Jack. So we're good here. Well, I'm good here with this being my alteration and my full bust adjustment, because remember, my garment is stretchy, so this will allow me to have 1 inch of stretch. It won't be super tight. It'll look really nicely plastered on my body, which I need. Now we got to talk about truing. Remember, we had to true these lines last night when I was making my alterations, so we're gonna have to true again this line here. And I think I'm gonna need some more paper. And this is just like some waste paper that was left over. Whenever I do pattern adjustments, I try and make sure that my filler paper is the same weight as my pattern paper. So this is just excess paper that was left over when I cut this pattern out. Alright, so I am going to go ahead and tape this on here, because I don't know how far out I got to go or where my true lines are going to be just yet. I just want to be prepared. Be prepared. Alright, now I'm still using this grain line here up at the top. Not this one here, because that one has been altered. And then I'm going to redraw my grain line when I'm done. Now I'm ready to true. So now to true my line, I'm going to start with this neckline here, and then I'm going to curve out. So the distance between the two looks like 1 inch. So I'm going to go out 1 inch here. This is going to and I'm making a mark at the end. I'm going to use the inside of the curve. Ouch. So actually, I'm going to be using the other grain line to true. Not this one, this one. Because I have the top sitting on the grain line now, we're good here. So let me redraw my grain line. This isn't long enough. Need a longer ruler. I just switched rulers because I need a longer ruler, and what it's helping me see is using the big mat. I got my line right here, going through my grain line, and it's coming out up here. Alright, so now I'm ready to cut this so that it actually looks like a top. Right now I'm just going to add tape so that my new areas are taped down. And now with these changes and this moving here, okay, I'm just cutting off excess paper right now. With these changes and moves, all you do is move your darts, not your darts, I'm sorry, your dot markings. Like there's a dot marking here that needs to be moved. I just move that 5/8 of an inch from the edge. I'll move my notch 5/8 of an inch from the edge. Or the knot sits on the edge, but the dot 5/8 of an inch away, the square 5/8 of an inch away, and so on and so forth to get all of your markings where they need to be. And this is me just cutting off excess paper. I'm not doing nothing technical here. And then I'm going to use my rotary cutter to cut this piece off. And my center front line I need to redraw as well, because there's usually always a center front line on a wrap top, because that's where the wraps meet on the center front line. That's where your X meets. And it's already marked center front. Alright, so now I'm going to turn the dart in. It's going to be a little tough for me to do, but I'm going to do it because this paper is so freaking hard. Only 18. And then 22, 16, 18 dart legs are right on the outside here. We'll see if I can turn the dart in, and what I'm trying to do is just so you guys can actually get a visual of how this alteration is working. Actually, I'll just do it this way. It'll be a little easier for me to see. get the gist. Everybody see that now? The dart fits my bust. Here's my center front line where the other side is going to cross over, which means now I got some modesty. I got enough room open to show my necklace, right? I also have enough wrap to come over here to the side. So when I wrap the inside of this to the outside, my wrap string is going to be where it needs to be. But the main thing is bringing this over to the side seam, making sure that my bust point is where I need it, and then the extra room where I need it is put to allow for modest coverage. Okay, still gonna be sexy. It's just not going to be dinner sexy. It's going to be work sexy. Okay, and another thing that I don't like about, another thing that's a good idea to do a full bust adjustment on a wrap is when you have a larger bust, if it doesn't fit, what happens is your boob goes right over the, you'll have your boob right on top of the wrap. Then you'll be going to the bathroom and you'll be pulling that clothes out of there. This stops that. This wrap is right before the boob, so it's not going to get stuck underneath my titties, right? So it's going to show full coverage, and I have nice spot where my boob is. And now this fits my armhole. When you have a larger boob, your armhole is definitely narrower. I don't have to worry about gapping up here in the front. Then when I put my facing on, it's going to really, when I put my facing on, I'm even going to have a little bit more open coverage on here. Thanks for the target, y'all. All right, so just to recap, for a wrap top, when you do a FBA for a wrap top, you just need to draw 3 lines. Number 1, down to the apex mark that's on the pattern. Number 2, you can use your notch. There's a notch. Draw line number 2 to the notch. And number 3 is a perpendicular line to line number 1. And then you cut on the angled line, spread it open as much as you need it spread. Then you true. Start with the area that's sticking out. You can see this one is sticking out, so you don't true from here. You true from here. And then once you get it right, because the wrap top is on an angle, then you can find the correct grain line that you need to grab and redraw. So I took the center front line and I took the grain line from the bottom, and then I just redrew them up. And now this is done and ready for me to make my dress. Okay, everybody got that? The 2 rulers I'm just using a regular 18-inch clear quilter's ruler, and this is good because they're clear. These are all in my Amazon store. I'm a regular design curve, and this has the arm's eye curve, the hip curve, and then it has a straight ruler. So it's like 3 rulers in one here. This one here is just a regular hip curve. This is good to use for pants. Also, the inside you can use for wrap tops, and then narrower hips as well. So I use this because I have narrow hips, not so full. Okay, so these are all in my Amazon store if you need to purchase these. Okay, so now we're gonna go on to, so now that this is done, I can actually lay my dress out and cut it. You're welcome, Brooklyn Timmy. All right, so now we're gonna start with a regular full bust adjustment on a regular top. We got rid of the wrap top, and the wrap top is a little easier, but I'm going to explain it on this, and I got this piece to use because I actually found this pattern is a duplicate in my stash, so I can cut it and do everything I need to do to it, and it's not gonna make a difference. All right, so now we're gonna go on to part 2. This is gonna be an FBA of a regular top. All right, now This one might be a little bit easier to see because this is just a regular brown paper. Okay, now I looked at the measurements on this particular top, and they're actually a little bit bigger than I anticipated. So let me show you guys what this pattern is, because some of you all may have this. This pattern right here. You can do, what we're going to do is we're going to do a regular FBA on the neck here. The sleeves literally are, you know, put the sleeves on your arm and boost it up a little bit and see if it'll work for you. But we're going to do an FBA on a top like this. And this is good because this top has darts. I want to show you guys how to do FBAs with darts. All right, now it's pretty much the same with that 2-inch rule. B cup is what it's drafted. To go up to a C cup, we need to do 2 inches, which is divided by, so 2 inches to the C cup, 2 inches to the D cup, 2 inches to the double D or the E cup, right? 2 inches, when you divide it by 2, because we have a left side and a right side, that means in order to go from B to C, we need to add a 1/2 inch, okay? Which gives us 50 cents plus 50 cents is $1, which is a 1 inch alteration. If we go from B cup to D cup, then we can add 1.5 inches, which gives us 3 inches, right? 1.5 plus 1.5 is 3 inches. That takes us to, I'm sorry. I missed one. B to C, C to D. That's 4 inches. 2, 2, and 2. All right, so for, it's 1 inch, 1.5, 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5. Okay, sorry about that. It's 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5. B, C, and D. So depending on the base, that's how we do a regular. Okay, so scratch that. I'm sorry, you guys. From B to C, there's a 2-inch difference, but we only make a 1/2 inch adjustment on the pattern, which gives us we do 1 full inch to go to C. We do, to go from B to D, we need 3 inches, not 4 inches. We need 3 inches, which is 1.5 inches is what we're going to open up. And 1.5 plus 1.5 gives us 3 full inches. Let me just work this through. I'm going to talk through it, and we're going to do this. All right. Because I'm like confusing myself. I don't want to confuse myself. Okay, now this particular pattern is done on the fold. So when you look at this line right here, that's our grain line for the fold, right? I'm going to put my weights down so I can draw my lines. Here is, we're going to do 3 lines. Here's my notch here on the arm's eye. So some people, when they do bust adjustments, when they tell you to draw from the arm, I learned 1/3 of the way and blah, blah, blah. But you can also use the notch, which makes it a little bit easier for you to draw your lines. The bust point on this one is here on this line. So if you have an older pattern, there's not going to be a coda, which is the circle with the little cross on it. Is going to be a line. So right here, underneath the finished garment measurements, you can see that line. Y'all see that line? It looks like the sum line on a math equation. That's actually the bust point, or where the coda is. And then when you go to the tip of the dart, the patterns usually draft the patterns 1 inch away from the tip of the dart. So you can find your dart size, go in 1 inch and draw a dot at the line, and that's the bust point on this particular pattern. So I'm going to do that now, so that'll be a little clearer to you guys. All right. Usually darts need to be 1 inch away from the apex, so you can find the tip of the dart. And since I have everything lined up, I'm going to put my bust point on. My bust line is on this line right here because I'm using my mat. So I'm going to measure 1 inch away from the tip of the dart. And on this one, I cut the 16 because the numbers were kind of big. This is an older top, and depending on the people that draft, this shit changes all the time. All right. So this is the apex on the pattern. Okay. So you can see where I made a mark here. This is the apex on the pattern. One more time. How did I get that? I found the dart on my size. The dart is usually drafted 1 inch away from the apex. So I measure in an inch. There's my dot. And actually, the bust line, it's actually, yeah, no, that's right. And so 1 inch away from the edge of the dot or the edge of the dart, I went 1 inch away. Now I have my apex point. So this is where I'm going to connect all of my lines. All right. So now we're going to start with line 1. We're going straight through the dart. And it looks like we're going to go up. Correct? Yes. I'm going to come up here. Now, let me tell y'all why. We're going to put an X in that one. Now, let me tell you why I just moved the bust point. I moved the bust point because the actual bust line that's marked here on the pattern, I have it laid on line, actually it's like line 29. So I went on and moved it up to the actual bust line that's on the pattern. So I went on and put it where it was instead of away from the actual dart. Because once this dart is folded, it is going to point to the apex or to the nipple. And this is where it is on the B. All right, now, so line number 1, we're going to draw through the dart. And then this one is a size 16. So I'm going straight through the dart to the bust point. Okay, coming right down to the edge here, going up to the bust point. Then you draw your angled line to the notch in the arm's eye. Okay, you don't have to draw directly on the notch, just as long as it's in this area near the notch. And you're starting at the bust point. Okay. This is line 1. This is line 2. And then line 3. Well, actually, line 2 is kind of a continuation. So let's do that. So the other part of line 2 goes down to the bottom. And let me make sure my ruler is straight using my big mat from Big Anna. What's happening, Big Anna, out there? This is line number 2. Okay, so line number 1, line number 2 is just a pivoted line. You go down from the arm's eye to the bust point and then straight down. And then line number 3 is anywhere you want it to be here on the bottom. I'm going to go below the lengthen and shorten lines, and I'm going to draw line number 3, which is from the line, it's perpendicular to the edge of the pattern. This is number 3. All right, let's go over those lines again. I drew my bust point from the actual line on the pattern, came up from and put it on the same line. I put my bust point on the same line as the line of the pattern. Then I drew line number 1 through the dart. This is cut on the 16, going straight through the edge of the 16 point, and then I meet the point of the apex. That's line 1. Line 2 is a pivoted line. Come down to the bust point, then we want to draw a parallel line to the fold or to the edge. That's line 2. Line 3 goes here from the center line that we just drew, perpendicular all the way to the edge of the pattern. All right, so these are our 3 lines. Then you want to add your tape, just like I did on the other one, just so when we do our hinges, the pattern don't fall apart. That's pretty much what the tape is for. All right, now I'm going to draw my seam allowance on my arm's eye because I want to make sure I don't cut too far into the arm. And then I just do 5/8. You don't have to do the whole arm if you don't want to. It's up to you to go as far as you want to. This upside down. 5/8 of an inch. And then 5/8 of an inch from where you're doing your cutting. And like I said, on this one, I'm doing the 16 because this is an older pattern and the numbers are different. What causes that? New employees, people that went to different schools to draft. Okay, that's what causes these patterns to... How come these used to fit me? They don't fit me no more. Okay, well, Johnny ain't drawing the patterns no more. They fired Johnny and Mike is working there now and he does things a little bit different. Okay, so that explains the differences in the patterns. All right, now for this one, I have a little bit of Christmas tissue paper that I use as my filler paper whenever I do patterns, right? So I got my little filler paper. Now I'm ready to cut because I got my lines here. I'm actually ready to cut. So now I'm going to cut line 1. I'm starting up the bottom. This particular pattern, I don't need a huge adjustment. Okay. Right at the point there. Then I'm going to cut in the dart. And now when I cut up to the bust point, I don't want to cut exactly on the point because I'm just going to cut a little bit of a hinge because when I open this up, I don't want everything to fall apart here, okay? But this is one continuous line. This, I have a little hinge here. That's how come I have the tape there. All right, now I'm going to cut up to the seam allowance. I'm cutting up now on piece number 2. And I'm going to stop at my seam allowance. And I put some tape there too so the pattern don't fall apart. Let's close that up. And then on the other side of the seam allowance, I'm just going to cut a small hinge because this part may need to overlap. Steady. All right, now I got my cuts done. Cut on 2 to the seam allowance, came on the other side of the seam allowance and cut a little hinge. I put a piece of tape right here. I cut through the dart and then almost to the bust point. Not at the bust point, but almost to the bust point. Now I'm going to add my paper underneath because I need to have my paper underneath. And you can see how the pattern is kind of falling apart, but that's okay. We're going to get it right. All right, now, only thing I need to do is move this back to the grain line. Put that there. And I know y'all are probably like, but what about piece number 3? We're going to cut that in a second. All right, now what I'm ready to do is I'm ready to spread for the amount that I need. According to this pattern, a size 16 finished garment measurement is 44. 44 is fine. That's what I need. But remember, my bust was 40 and my bust was 44. My high bust was a 40. So I'm going to need to open this up an inch in order for this to fit me properly like it does the model. So I'm going to do an inch adjustment and I want to use my grid. So I'm going to move this over here because I want to make sure when I open this up, this is where I need it to be. If I moved it here, does that work? No. I need it open here. Okay, so my grain line is actually on like a 1/2 inch. I mean, now, yeah, my grain line is actually on the 1/2 inch line. All right, so now all I do is take my paper and I move it down until it's opened up 1 inch. And what's happening here, I need to clip this just a little bit more, because I'm getting a little bit of resistance here, so that means it's not cut quite deep enough. That should allow me to spread. And then same thing here. Oh no, there we go. All right, I needed my own overlap to happen. All right, so I'm opening it up now to 1 inch. And then while I do this adjustment, what this does for me is this is opening up my dart. It's making it much wider. Clip this a little bit more. If it doesn't seem to be laying flat for you, then you just need to clip it a little bit more. That's all. And whoops, I got caught on my sleeve. And all I did was pull this open 1 inch. And you can actually see on the actual grid, I just used the grid as my guide. Opened it up 1 inch. It also made my dart wider. The bigger the boobs, the wider the dart. And then it dropped my bust point like a little bit more than 1 inch, probably about 1 1/8 inches. It dropped my bust point. So remember I was talking about I needed my bust to be a little lower. When you have a larger bust, they're going to hang a little bit lower. So when you do a full bust adjustment, not only does it give you room in the chest area, the side boob area, it gives you room in the front of your body. It also gives you a deeper, fuller dart to accommodate a fuller bust, right? The armhole is the same. You can see here on my seam allowance, even though I have a little bit of an overlap right here, my seam allowance is still the same, which means that my armhole is still going to fit. The armhole that comes with the pattern is still going to fit, okay? Now, I'm going to use this as like a makeshift weight. Let me open this back up. So you can see how I'm moving this, right? All right. So if you drop your scissors like I just did, you'll know how to reopen the pattern. All right. So I can start taping right now, but I'm not going to start taping just this instance because I want to show you all something. Okay. Now we're going to go to piece number 3. Let me get another weight out because them scissors ain't going to do nothing but get in the way. I already see that now. Okay, so then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut piece number 3. And then piece number 3, what this does is it allows me to bring my pattern down to meet the other edge here. So I just need to open it up 1 inch. Okay, so now those are my 3. Now my bottom has been untouched, right? Piece number 3 allows me to bring the front edge down. I have my opening here. I have my larger dart to accommodate my fuller bust. I have my narrower armhole to accommodate, to stop any gapping, or the armhole will fit better because I have a larger bust. All right, so this is where I would tape for the full bust adjustment for me for 1 inch. So if you need only a 1/2 inch, if you're going from B to C, then you close this up until it accommodates 1/2 inch. Okay, then you take this and you move this up a 1/2 inch. Okay, now for my girlies who have larger busts, so what happens is when you start doing E to F and F to H and J and so on and so forth, they have what's called a Y adjustment. And I'm going to, since this is not, I have a duplicate pattern, I'm going to show you guys the Y adjustment. So for the Y adjustment, all you do is draw one more line. Because if we were to spread, and this is why I'm going to say, let me show you the why. If we were to spread this 2 inches to accommodate a much fuller bust, look how big this dart becomes. So in order to stop this from happening, the Y adjustment closes this dart and allows the pattern to spread in a different area. All right. So I'm going to close this back up so you guys can see the original lines that were drawn, because I drew the numbers 1, 2, 3. From the bust point to the shoulder, you're going to draw line 4. And this adjustment is for my BTGs, my big titty girls. Now, my RTBGs, my real big titty girls, right? Y'all know what I mean. All right, so 5/8 of an inch. I'm going to go ahead and draw my seam allowance because I want to know where to cut. All right. And I'm going to put some tape right there on the cross because I know I'm going to have to do a hinge there. I got to cut up the line and then I got to cut on the other side. Now I'm going to cut my hinge. And then I'm going to cut up line number 4. So now, and this you actually will kind of see for the Y adjustment. Remember how I talked about if we wanted to spread it 2 inches? And this is to change like from a size C cup to a B cup. Or no, if we're going up to a J cup. No, yeah, to like a J cup. What we want to do is we want to open it up 2 inches. And then what you can see now is a letter Y forming here. So what this allows you to do is to do a larger spread here if you need to open up more room. Now remember, when we do one side of the top, it's doubled, right? So this is not a 2-inch adjustment. This is a 4-inch adjustment. And then you could do 4.5 inches. So many inches goes up so many cup sizes. So if you're doing like a deer and doe or itch to stitch pattern that starts the drafting with a D cup, then you can expand it 1 inch, 2 inches, 1.5 or a ½ inch, however much you need if you have a plus size pattern. Now you can see the Y forms when the arm's eye starts to get more on the narrow side. Okay, so now you can see the Y bust adjustment is useful for anybody who has a larger bust because it also gives us room here on the top of the bust because of the fullness of the bust. When you have a larger bust, you have more meat, more area, more fatty tissue up here over the bust. So this allows the garment or the bust adjustment to become larger, and it'll allow you to accommodate for more room. And then here, piece number 3 just gets lowered the amount that's spread here, which is 3 inches, or not 3 inches, however long it needs to be to meet the opposite side here. Okay, so now you can actually see the Y adjustment. So you can actually see it happening here. And all you do, and then this is just a small crossover here on this end here. This is just a small overlap. And this is a 6-inch adjustment here. So this is a 6-inch bust adjustment. And you can use the Y adjustment if you need to get more room or you need to get larger. Okay. Yeah, for someone, yes. For someone who has a larger bust or an H cup, the Y adjustment is definitely the way that you want to go. J cups. Any cup that's larger than a D cup, which is a double D or an E, definitely want to do the Y adjustment because this allows you to spread the pattern farther. But then you don't have to worry about the dart being so big. And then when it comes to redrawing the dart, because we have the dart, let's say we have the dart over here, okay? Always want to make sure that you have your bust point, right? And you can see, actually, this is the initial bust point for the pattern right here. It actually dropped so that it becomes lower, right? So just make sure that when you redraw your dart, make sure that the point of your dart is 1 inch. It could be a little less, 1 inch away from the actual apex or the nipple, right? So then you would just redraw your dart. And this is just I'm just drawing this just to kind of show you guys what needs to be done. I'm gonna put that here. So you can see I just drew a new dot, which is 1 inch away from the nipple, right? And then you just take your ruler and you redraw to the existing leg that is to your size. So let's say we were at this size here. So when you redraw your dart legs, use the dart legs for the size that you cut. Draw your new dot away from an inch away from the bust point, from your new bust point, and then redraw the dart legs. I think I grabbed the wrong one. That's why this looks really wide. Actually, it's I like seriously drew the wrong one. It's like right here. And then this one goes here. And so what's going to happen is your dart will probably be about, in essence, let's say about 4 inches. I'm drawing these lines. These lines are the lines that say, nope, that's not what we want to do. So your dart, in essence, is going to be probably about 4 inches. And here's what I want to tell you when it comes to darts. If you have a large dart, and I'm just going to cut this off as an example. If you have a large dart and it's a whole lot of fabric on your dart, go about 3/4 of an inch or 1 inch away from the tip. Do a snip. And then you can cut that excess off. Cut that excess off. You can press that dart to one side, or you can press it open and then press it to one side. And that just gets rid of all of that extra fabric, that extra bulk. You don't need that there. And it is perfectly fine for you to cut off that extra fabric. Actually, I have an example on a jacket I'm working on of darts that were cut open, so you can actually see what I mean. Here we go. This was a large dart, and all I did was clip the top of the dart. I left the top, and I just pressed that to one side, and I pressed the dart open. You can definitely do that on your shirts to make everything flat and to minimize bulk in this dart area whenever you make a Y adjustment and you have a large dart. All right, so now we're gonna open it up to Q&A. Anybody got any questions? Did that go okay? Did everybody understand what I was saying? I know this ain't a Zoom. Usually when I do a Zoom class, I make sure that everybody is on the same page, that I haven't lost anybody. Is anybody not feeling comfortable? A regular FBA Marcy, I see you there. Is that a question for me? Is that some... Oh, you're answering a question. Got you. All right. Great explanation. Did it come across good? I just want to make sure that I did it so that everybody could understand. I am going to download this video and upload it to my YouTube channel. So if you want to get a chance to go back. Also, I will include a link to this one girl on YouTube that I absolutely love. I will add her link to the YouTube so you can watch some of hers. Hey Isla, so you can watch some of her videos as well. Very, very good. But I just want to make sure that everybody understood you know, the basics of an FBA. So the FBA is in general to add room to the bust so that your clothes feel good, but you cut a smaller size so the neckline fits, the arms ain't hanging off, and sleeves ain't grossly long that you have to keep doing all of this adjustment. But yeah, all it does is everything else fits and you're adding room to the bust. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but I will add it though. Wonderful. You're a retired pattern maker and you like the way I explained it. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Very helpful. Thank you, Mika. If you need to move your dart, do you do an FBA? No, an FBA is done if you need to add bust room. But if you need to lower or move your dart up or move your dart down, what you would do is draw a box around your dart, draw a line from the tip of the dart, draw a box, right? Then take that whole box, cut the whole box out, move that dart down, and you draw a line to, let's say you want it to be 1 inch. Here's our original dart. Actually, you know what? Let me show you guys that real quick because this is an easy explanation. So you guys are getting a 3-for-1 today. All right, to move your dart, if you're doing a low dart or you're doing a low dart for low dart movement or higher dart, what you would do is take the actual dart. I'm going to do it here in red. And when I do a low bust adjustment or a high bust adjustment, because I do a FBA though, the pattern is moved, the bust point is moved down so you don't have to lower. But if everything is good and you don't need an FBA, you just need to get rid of that freaking B cup. Because there is going to be some chances where the numbers are going to match up for you, but you don't need an FBA. You just don't need that B cup. You can lower the dart. And here's what happens. So if I go out on the 16, I just make a line to the end of the pattern through the beginning of the 16, through the dart on the 16. And I'm like, you know what? I need to lower my dart 1 inch. So I mark a line. I usually do it in another color. So I'm marking it in green. Okay. So then I draw a box around my dart. And I'm going around the 16. I want to make sure that I capture the 16. And I'm also going to capture the legs here. So I'm drawing a box around the dart. And the 16 is here. I go to the edge of the 16. And then I come here. So you see that square drawn around the dart. Then I cut that out. I'm just cutting off excess paper here. I don't want to confuse nobody. Then you cut out the box. Okay, now because I drew myself a green line and a red line, this is the original line where the dart point is. This is where I need my dart to be. That's the difference between the red line and the green line. And I take my cutout dart and I move it to the green line that's existing. The green line that I drew, I connect my red line that came from the dart to my new green line, and then I tape it down. Now I'm going to hold this up, or actually I'll bring the phone a little closer. Okay, so now what I did was I just took my dart and I moved it down an inch. So I changed it from their B cup. Now I'm at a D cup because I moved it 1 whole inch down. Okay, if I wanted to go to C cup, I'd have moved it down just a 1/2 inch. My line from here to here would have been a 1/2 inch. So I just moved it down. This area right here gets filled up with filler paper underneath. This has my filler paper underneath, right? Let me cut this off. Now I got my paper underneath. And then you can also see that here on the side seam, my dart runs smoothly here. Okay? Dart stays the same. All I do is true my line here. Cut off the excess. I'm just going to draw a line because I would just need to true my line. Cut off the excess on the sides, and now I'm ready to go. This is how you move a dart. Encase the whole dart. See how far down it needs to be moved. A 1/2 inch, a 1/4 inch, however you need it. And then cut it out. Move the whole thing down. Tape it up, and you're ready to go. I do this all the time. Pretty much on every pattern that I pull out the envelope. So here's one thing that I want to pass on to you all when it comes to flat pattern drafting and commercial patterns. The number one thing that you need to know how to do, you're welcome, Shamir. The number one thing that you need to know how to do is when you get that brand new gorgeous pattern and you pull it out the envelope, you need to know what are the standard alterations that you need to make to this pattern before you even get your fabric out, before you even get your muslin out. I know the standard patterns for me because I'm short is I have to shorten the pattern so many inches because I know the legs are going to be too long. I know I need to drop the bust dart because I know I don't do a B cup. So these are things that I know anyway, right? So I do that. Then when I do my muslin, I can tell, all right, the sleeves need to be tweaked and, I need a FBA on this jacket. It's still not fitting right even though I dropped the bust dart. Then my muslin can tell me the things that are wrong. If you are new to sewing and you have never made a muslin, pull it out straight from the package, create the garment, put on the garment, and then let the muslin tell you what's not right. It's too short in the waist. The busts don't fit. The arms are too long. Let the muslin talk to you. And then you'll know the standard alterations that you need to do whenever you pull out one of these Big 5 patterns. Okay? Get used to doing your standard alterations before you cut your pattern. Get your flat pattern adjusted to fit you. Then cut your fabric or cut your muslin and start from there. I don't know too many people that can pull these patterns right out the envelope and they fit. It happens every now and a blue moon, but there's not that many people that it works. So what you need to do is you need to get over yourself. If you like hamburgers, eat hamburgers. You like fried chicken and french fries, eat the hell whatever you want. Make clothes to fit the body that you have now. So you can take advantage of knocking down the stash, doing the thing that we love, which is sewing and creating new stuff, right? So I say that to say we are done. Thank you for joining me. Used to be able to those days are over, and they're over for me, but I have not stopped sewing. I just went up on my sizes and realized, okay, yeah, I like hamburgers, and after I eat my hamburger, I don't want to be sitting somewhere with my stomach supposedly sucked in, because when you eat a hamburger, that's what you look like. You can stand there and be like, if you want, but after I ate my hamburger, my clothes still look good. Thanks for the highlights. So get used to your standard alterations that you do when you pull out that big 5 pattern. Your clothes will fit wonderfully. You will be comfortable, and you get to sew. That's the ultimate bonus. All right, y'all. Look for this on YouTube. And thank you so much for joining. And yeah, we had a packed house today, so I appreciate everybody showing up. I will be doing a zipper tutorial in my group. If you're not a part of my group, join my group, Carol Sewing Corner on Facebook. The zipper tutorial is going to cover every zipper. A invisible zipper, a lap zipper, a fly zipper, and I'm forgetting something. I don't know, an exposed zipper. I'll come up with something, but it'll cover all of the zippers, and it'll be a way for you to have a reference to fall back on. So when you need your zipper, you'll have samples of these zippers for you to reference. When I'm looking at a little later on in this month. So far, so good. I have a lot of things out of the way, and I will be advertising it on my page unless, as soon as I sit down and look at a calendar, let's say tomorrow, I'll put the dates out there. All right. Don't forget about Chicago Fractals. And don't be asking me no questions at Chicago Fractals, because I'm be running around with my head cut off like a chicken. When you come to Chicago Fractals, come dressed, come to have fun, and let's enjoy each other's makes. Thanks again, everybody. Love y'all. Love sewing. Let's do it right. Respect the craft. Let's make some custom garments. Later, y'all.